You could fit a lot of people. We would pack a lot of people in that car, man. Go to the arcade, play video games. Street Fighter 2 was still a thing. Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, Tekken had just came out. Remember those games? Playing those games in the 90s, that was so much fun. You put your quarter up. What year did you get your driver's license? And what was your first car? Man, I tell you, that was so cool. That was so cool, man. Was so excited to get my license, I remember, back in 1994, 1995. I turned 16 December of 1994, but I didn't get my license until March of 1995. And I remember that seemed like an eternity, those 3 months. I wasn't getting along with my parents. I wanted to get it right away. Long story short, I did end up getting it in March of 95. Man, I was so excited. I did not like my car though. My first car was a 1980 Buick LeSabre. I hated that car at the time. The car was 15 years old, had a big V6, I believe it was a 4.1 liter V6. Slow, didn't handle well. You could fit a lot of people. We would pack a lot of people in that car, man. It was my grandmother's car. It had been sitting outside, and I wanted something cool, but my dad was like, this is your car, you're lucky to have it. You are lucky to have this, that I'm even giving you this car or allowing you to drive this car. And he was right, man. He was right, because I really probably didn't even deserve to have that. I remember driving that car to school. I was so embarrassed to have that car. I wanted to have a cool car. I wanted to have a nice car, because I was into cars and I love sports cars. But hey, if I would have been given a brand new BMW for my first car, or even a brand new Honda Accord or Civic, would I have respected it? Probably not. Probably not. Definitely not at that age. But having that beat up car was good, because then it showed me that I can't have everything that I want, that I need to learn to work, develop a work ethic, which eventually I did. Who had a nice car for their first car? Did you have something? Were you fortunate to have parents that spoiled you a little bit and decided to give you something really nice, like a brand new car, or something that was barely used, or a luxury car even? Anybody get a BMW or a Mercedes for their first car? You can't give your kids anything nice for their first car because they're going to wreck it or ruin it. That's not always true. I had friends that got really cool cars when they turned 16, and they were good kids, but I do believe it is good to start off with a crappy car. A 16, 17-year-old teenager can learn a lot from driving an older car. But remember how much fun that was, getting your license? I mean, you can go places by yourself, drive by yourself, go over your friend's house, pick people up, go out to dinner, which back then was, going to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, getting fast food. We were skateboarding, riding BMX bikes, doing stuff like that. So it was fun to be able to drive somewhere and go skating, drive to the mall. The malls were still big in the 90s. So we would drive to the mall, get something to eat, walk around, go to the arcade, play video games. Street Fighter 2 was still a thing. Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, Tekken had just came out. Remember those games? Playing those games in the 90s, that was so much fun. You put your quarter up and wait your turn. God, these kids today are missing out. But you younger kids, Gen Z, what did you get for your first car? What was it? Did you get something brand new? Did you get a used car, a hand-me-down car? Was it a piece of shit? For those of us that are in the cars, car enthusiasts, having that Lamborghini poster, for me it was the Countach 5000S poster on my wall, like many other kids. That's an old Prelude. Look at that. That looks cool. And you guys, today, I don't know what the poster is. Is it an Aventador SVJ? Is it a Pagani? I mean, there's so many wild, exotic supercars and hypercars. Hypercars weren't even a thing yet when I was a kid. It was just supercars. You had the Lamborghini Countach, you had the Ferrari F40, and you had the Porsche 959. Those were the cars. And now there are just so many cars. It's crazy. So many sports cars, exotic cars. SUVs were not a thing yet. We didn't have SUVs. I mean, you had like a Chevrolet Blazer, you had the Jeep Cherokee, you had, what am I missing, guys? I guess the Ford Explorer was still relatively new. You did not have SUVs, and those were really trucks, as to where now we have crossover SUVs that are basically cars that sit up higher. You didn't have any of that stuff. In '95, the halo cars were the Ferrari F355. That was, man, the naturally aspirated V8 gated shifter. That was the dream. That was the ultimate fantasy. The Ferrari F355 when I got my license. The Lamborghini hadn't been bought by Audi yet, so you had the Diablo, which was a real Lamborghini. That didn't do it for me as much as the 355. The 355 was one of those cars. The Viper GTS was about to come out. That was another one of those cars. Of course, the Porsche 911 Turbo 993. That was one of those cars. The Corvette ZR1. You had the, all the Japanese stuff, the Toyota Supra Turbo, Nissan 300ZX, Mazda RX-7. So there were some really awesome cars that were new at the time. What am I missing? Comment below. I mean, there were some really awesome cars. Not like it is today with all the craziness. There's just so many cars available. And then you also have access to the used cars, so you can still find some of these cars, although obviously you're gonna have to pay a premium. A clean Supra that's unmolested is gonna be crazy money. RX-7, same thing. What do you Gen Z kids do now when you get your license? You could drive to school, that's a big deal. You live in the suburbs or a rural area, driving to school is a big deal. You know, go to the movies. I guess kids still do that. You guys still go to the movies, right? Go out to eat, go hang out with your friends, pick your friends up, go cruise around. You go to car shows, you can go to Cars and Coffee. We didn't have all the car shows. I mean, you guys take it for granted, but we did not have all of these car shows like it is today. It's madness. You can't go to them all, even the local shows. It's overwhelming. We did not have that. We would have a random car show once or twice a year. You did have the concourse shows, the bigger shows, but I mean, there just were not many. And then it was hard to find out about them. You would have private meets, private events. There weren't any takeovers. You had random acts of aggressive driving where you go out with your friends and do dumb stuff, which we definitely did, but it's not like it is today. It was a big deal to learn how to drive a stick shift in the 90s, and I did make a video on that. And I did have a buddy, fortunately, who his mother had a Honda Accord with the stick shift. I didn't have a stick shift car at the time. The 1980 Buick LeSabre, which I had for a few years, and then I ended up getting a 85 Trans Am, which I still miss. I miss that car. That was one of those cars, you either love it or you hate it. And it was cool. It was a fun car. It was 10, 11 years old at the time when I got it. 11 years old when I got it. I think I got it in 96 or 97. That was the second car. That was my first nice car. And what was your first nice car? Nice to you, because there are a lot of douchebags out there where, you know, if it's not a Porsche 911, if it's not a Lamborghini, it's not a nice car. And social media has made it seem like everybody should be driving Lamborghinis at 16. You should have a Huracan at 16, a Porsche 911. BMWs are trash, Mercedes are trash, and forget about Hondas or Toyotas or Fords, you know. And that's bullshit, man. I like everything. And as someone that creates automotive content, that's been to a lot of car shows, that's been around a lot of exotic cars and driven some really cool cars, rode along in lots of cool cars, I can appreciate it all, from a clean Honda Civic to a Pagani Huayra. So I don't like that. I don't like the elitism. Not a fan of that stuff. I think it ruins the community. If you like cars, you should be able to appreciate all different types of cars from all different manufacturers. But enough about that. And if it was something really cool, that's great, man. That's cool. I can appreciate that. If you were gifted something really amazing like a BMW M3 for your first car, like, that would have been a dream. That would have been like, I can't even like fathom that as a kid. And I mean, imagine getting like a BMW M3 in the mid 90s. That must have been like, that, That would have been like the coolest thing ever. Or a Ferrari 355. Can you imagine? Can you imagine getting a gated Ferrari 355 in the 90s? That I don't think that I could imagine anything cooler, like as a kid. Just loving cars so much. Thinking about that now just makes me like, because those cars are still so cool to me. If you get it, you get it. Not everybody gets it, because a lot of people think that it's just for show and you want to show off. But when you have a nice car, you realize that people don't care about that. Women don't care about that. I mean, they might smile, they might like it might get you in the door. But it's the little kids, it's the little boys, they're the ones that like it, that care about it. They're the ones that like the cool cars. That's all you're impressing. It's kind of like the bodybuilder with the big muscles. The guy with the big muscles, he's really only going to impress the little kids, a couple guys that are into working out, and that's it. Nobody else cares. I mean, yeah, people will want to take pictures. If you have a nice car, you'll get a thumbs up, stuff like that, but you're also going to get a lot of hate. But as a car nut, having the nice car, especially at a young age, so that kid that got the M3 at the young age, I mean, what was that like, man? That must have been really cool. Granted, if you grew up in a rich area and everybody is getting that, you're in Orange County, California, Newport, Rhode Island, you grew up in the Hamptons, yeah, it's normal, so it's not going to be a big deal. But for us mere mortals, imagining that, it must have been really cool. I am earning money now from these videos, and I really appreciate it when you guys follow me, engage with me. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming, that's for sure. I am going to be getting into some newer cars. We will see what they will be. I'm not sure yet, but it's coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.